Hi everybody, welcome back to Clues by Sam. Have a great start of your week. And if you've never played Clues by Sam before, this is a great day to start because 2 days is an easy one and this is a daily puzzle. So tomorrow it might not be an easy one, but if you don't know what it is a puzzle where there are 20 people, each of which must either be a criminal or an innocent, and you gotta figure out what they are using the clues that they themselves might give you when you review somebody's role. We do this every day here on the channel, and if you want to play along with me, the link is in the description. And on Mondays we also do the hardest bonus puzzle from last week that comes in the newsletter from Clues by Sam that you can subscribe to in this site. So I'm gonna put the links in the description so everybody can play if they want to, but for now, I'm gonna start the easy one, so let's go. We start with Clyde telling us that there are exactly 2 instances to right of Gabe. Okay, there's 2 people to right of Gabe, so both of them have to be instants, and one of them tells us that both instants below Emma are connected. So Igor is below Emma and he's an instant, so the other person that is connected to him has to be an instant as well. And both means that there's only 2 people who are instants below Emma, so everybody else is a criminal, and that's good. Now Zane tells us that both singers are incense. So we have only 2 singers and both of them are incense. Now, Karen, one of those singers, says that Barrett is one of Helen's 7 instant neighbors. So Barrett is an instant, and Helen has only 1 criminal neighbor because she has 7 instant ones and 8 ones total. 8 neighbors total. How does that help now? Oh, we have a new clue from Barrett. Only one of the 3 pilots has an instant directly below them. Well, only one of the 3 pilots has anybody below them, so that person has to have an instant below them. And that instant gives us a new clue. Exactly 2 of the 3 instants neighboring Noah are above Wanda. So, above Wanda, there's 2 people who neighbor Noah. One of them is already an instant, but the other one has to be as well. And now we know that Wanda also neighbors Noah, so she could be one of the instants. We don't know yet. Olivia now says that each row has at least 2 instants. What row doesn't have a second instant? Row 5. And row 4. So how do we act here? We know that Noah has 5 neighbors total, and 3 of them are instants, which means that 2 of them are criminal, but it couldn't be that both those criminals that neighbor Noah are in row 5, because if they were, then row 5 wouldn't have 2 instants, which it needs to have. So we know that among Uma and Wanda, there's 1 instant and 1 criminal. Let's use a different color here to tag them. And Julie is the second criminal in this situation. Now, let me leave Olivia's clue here because of row 4. Julie says now that an odd number of instants on the edges neighbor Olivia. So Olivia has so far 2 instants neighboring her on the edges. One of them is Xavi, the second one is either Uma or Wanda, so she needs a third one to make an odd number, and that has to be Noah. Now we don't need Olivia's clue anymore, but Noah says that there are exactly 3 criminals in column D. Well, the third person could only be Emma, so she has to be an instant. Criminal! Can't believe I got a yellow on an easy one because I can't read clues. Now Emma says that only 1 row has exactly 2 criminals. Ooh, that's interesting. It isn't any of the 3 first rows. Oh, it could be row 1. But it is for sure row 5 because row 5 has Zane, which is a criminal, and is going to have a second one. So we know that row 1 is not a row with 2 criminals, which means that Adam is an instant. Now Adam says that there's an odd number of criminals on the edges. How many criminals do we have so far? 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to have a 5th one who's either Uma or Wanda, which means that Flora, who's also on the edge, couldn't be a criminal. Otherwise, we would have 6. That's an even number. So she's an instant. And now Flora says that there's an equal number of criminals in columns A and B. That means that we couldn't have Uma be a criminal because there's only 1 person left in column B. And if Uma were to be a criminal, that would make that person in column B an instant. And now the number is completely different. So Uma has to be an instant, which makes Wanda a criminal. And what about Ruby? What do we do with Ruby? What? What do we do with Ruby? Oh, we know that only one row has exactly 2 criminals, so we know that row 4 couldn't have 2 criminals as well as row 1, so Ruby has to be an instant too. Oh, the yellow one. Can't believe it. 1 second away from 420. Oh, man. So this is it for the easy one. If it's your first time here, trust me, I play better than this. But I often do some mistake in reading the clues opposite of what they're saying. And you are gonna do that as well. People do that, and it's very interesting. There has to be a study on the psychology of reading the clue opposite of what it's saying, but we're gonna jump into the bonus one now, and the link for this one is in the description as well if you want to play. I'm thinking I'm gonna put all of the bonus ones there, but so far, I'm only putting the one that we're playing on the channel, and I'm gonna restart the timer here so that we get it right. And we start with Katie telling us there are exactly 2 instants in between Vance and Zara. There's 2 people between Vance and Zara, so both of them have to be instants. And Will says that there are exactly 4 instants in column C, which means there's only 1 criminal. Sia says now that only one of the 3 criminals neighboring Betsy is Helen's neighbor. So Betsy has 2 neighbors shared with Helen. Only one of those is a criminal, which means that the single criminal in column C is up here, neighboring Helen and Betsy, and we know that Larry and Salil both are instants because column C has 4 instants. Now Salil says that there are exactly two of the 3 criminals neighboring Floyd are in column A. Criminals. So if 2 of them are here in column A and there's 1 here in column C, neighboring Floyd, that's our 3 criminals. So anybody who's not in column A or column C has to be innocent. That means Betsy. Betsy now says that Paula is one of Katie's 6 innocent neighbors. So Paula is an innocent, and Katie, who's Katie, has 6 innocent neighbors. So 2 criminals. Paula says there are more innocents in row 3 than row 5. Instance. Who? First of all, let's look at Sia's clue back again, because only one of the 3 criminals neighboring Betsy means that Betsy has 3 criminals neighboring her. One of them is shared with Floyd. She has to have 2 more. Floyd has 2 people neighboring him who are criminals in column A. Katie has 2 people neighboring her who are criminals. This is very hard to put together, but let's look at it calmly and slowly in our time. Let's say that, let me try to make Floyd a criminal. If Floyd's a criminal now, Betsy has 2 criminals neighboring her, so she needs a 3rd one. Floyd still needs 2 more, right? Even if those 2 are Alex and Evie because of Katie. Because Katie has 2 criminals neighboring her total, right? She has 8 neighbors, 6 of them are innocents, which means that 2 of them are criminals. And this is solved here with Floyd and Evie. But now Betsy has more criminals than she should, because she has 3 total. And right now she has 4. Betsy has 3 neighbors who are criminals. Yeah, one of the 3 criminals neighboring Betsy. So, and if you were the other case, that's even worse. If Evie and Joyce, who neighbor Floyd, were to be criminals, now Katie has way more criminals than she should have, and Betsy has her 3. So Floyd being a criminal breaks either Betsy or Katie. There's no way for him to be a criminal. What? How? And why? Floyd has 3 criminal neighbors, one of which is here. Oh, I think we should be sure that Evie is for sure a criminal. Let me try to make Alex and Joyce both criminals and see how that works for us. Because now Betsy has two. I'm confused. But we're gonna get through this. Betsy has one criminal neighbor here, the second one is here, and she needs a third one, right? 3 criminals neighboring Betsy. Floyd has 3 criminals neighboring him as well. So Floyd now has 3, which means he couldn't have any more. That makes Evie an innocent. Katie still needs a second one, but that could be Ronald. I ignored Ronald completely. But anyway, if Ronald is a criminal and Floyd is an innocent, that doesn't work for Betsy. Because Betsy still needs a third criminal, and that would have to be Floyd. So Ronald is an innocent in this scenario. And it works for both Katie and Betsy, as it does for Floyd. Floyd has 3, Betsy has 3, and Katie only has 2. If that's Floyd being a criminal. So if Ronald is a criminal, that's what doesn't work. Because now Katie could only have one more criminal neighboring her here. And could that be Alex and Evie and then Floyd is an innocent? It could. So now Floyd has 3 criminal neighbors. Betsy has 3 as well, which they should. Katie has 2. So Ronald could be a criminal. I'm talking nonsense. Do I have to look at there are more innocents in row 3 than row 5? I don't think that helps me. 2 of the 3 criminals neighboring Floyd are in column A. 3 criminals neighboring Betsy. So let's think about because row 3 and row 5. Do we know something about Paula, or am I thinking about the previous puzzle yet? Still. There are exactly 2 instances between Vince and Sarah. Yeah? Yeah. I'm thinking about the other puzzle, so... Can we try and make Alex an innocent? Joyce a criminal and everybody else innocent? That works for Floyd, who now has 3, but it doesn't work for Betsy, who doesn't have 3. So that will have to make Floyd an innocent, and Ronald is already an innocent. So I guess, are we looking at Alex? If Alex is an innocent, Betsy still needs 3 people neighboring her who are criminals. So both Evie and Floyd would have to be criminals. And that closes Katie's case. So that will make Joyce an innocent. But now Floyd doesn't have a way to have 3 criminals. So Alex couldn't be an innocent. And now we know that Evie and Joyce are opposites because Floyd needs one more criminal here in column A neighboring him. And Alex now says that Helen is one of Gary's 2 criminal neighbors. So where is Helen? Helen is a criminal. Gary has a second criminal neighbor. But how do we know who there is? And what do we do with Katie? Because now that we know that Alex is a criminal, what do we do with Floyd? These 2 are opposites, right? Floyd and Evie. Considering that Betsy has one criminal neighbor and is gonna have a second one here. The third one is either Evie or Floyd, so they are opposites. What does that make? Evie, being an innocent, makes both Floyd and Joyce criminals, which solves Katie, so Ronald is an innocent. And Evie, being a criminal, makes both Floyd and Joyce innocents. Oh, I'm not thinking about Gary. I'm not thinking about Gary. Gary complicates things for Katie. Because Evie being a criminal and then Floyd and Joyce being innocents doesn't make Ronald a criminal. But does it make... Who's the person that has two criminal neighbors? Gary. But if Evie is a criminal and then Floyd and Joyce both are innocents, that makes... it could make Gary a criminal, but it doesn't necessarily do. It doesn't necessarily do. If and what did I think about before? Evie being an innocent makes both Floyd and Joyce criminals, which makes Gary an innocent. And that makes Clyde a criminal. Oops. And Ronald a criminal, right? Now we know that Gary has more criminal neighbors than he should, because Gary has two criminal neighbors. So this doesn't work. Evie has to be a criminal then. Should not bury Gary. And that makes both Floyd and Joyce innocents. Now we know that Gary and Ronald are opposites. Floyd says there's an odd number of innocents in the corners. So it's either all three of these are innocents or one of them only. But let me look again at row 3. There are more innocents in row 3 than row 5. That means there couldn't be row 5 people, 4 people who are innocents in row 5. Why? If everybody here is an innocent in row 5, there's no way for row 3 to have more innocents, right? And that being the case would also make Diane an innocent, because we need an odd number of innocents in the corners. So we know for sure now that there's only one innocent in the corner, and that innocent is in row 5. Or do we not? It doesn't really mean that it is. It could be that Diane is an innocent and both Zara and Vince are criminals. That would also make row 3 have more innocents than row 5. So I'm not really sure yet about that. And Evie also says there are 9 innocents on the edges. How many do we have so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're gonna have 6 with one of the innocents in a corner. Let's say that this is the config. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9. All of these have to be innocents then. Mark, Uma, and Clyde. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And Clyde being innocent makes Gary a criminal, which now gives us the 2 criminals for Katie, so we know that Ronald is innocent. And it doesn't really matter if Vince and Zara are opposites or both criminals, because row 3 has 4 innocents. So we disambiguate that some in another way. Now Gary says there are exactly 2 criminals in column A, and those 2 are Alex and Evie, so Vince is an innocent. And that's a single innocent in a corner, which makes both Zara and Diane criminals. A yellow in each of the puzzles. If it's, well, that happens. But it took me a very short time in comparison to the times when I spent way more time doing the disambiguation of everything, trying different scenarios. I guess I was too eager because I know it's late. So I'm sorry about that. I'm not gonna redo this. No way. You are gonna deal with my mistakes just as I do. And I'll leave this video here. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know how it went for you if you did play and what you think of the videos. Are you angry when I make mistakes? And are you angry when you do mistakes? And do we do similar ones? Because I feel like we do. It's a part of doing these puzzles. So, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.